what is fundamental to all techniques is developing an awareness. And you have to start with awareness, no matter what. If you're going to address yourself uniquely as a person and your history, and what is your breathing about, and how do you experience your breathing? Like when you just observe your breathing, which is fundamental to learn to observe your breath, to become self-aware, so you can look at what your body is doing, not just what you're doing. When I say observe your breath, you sit back and think of your body as your friend. And what is your friend doing? Okay, like for example, if you watch the exhale, you can notice that if you allow it, and there isn't an unconscious habit that's getting in its way, it will get slower and slower and slower. And then you can feel that slowness. And as it comes to a halt, you can feel it stop. And then there's a little interval, and you can feel that interval. And then there's a reflex that will kick in, and you can learn to experience that reflex. You can feel it come in, which develops a kind of a sense of trust in your physiology. You can feel that reflex. Okay, but you observe it. Now, this is very hard to do for a lot of people. They can't. And when I ask a lot of people to observe, and I said, well, what did you see in the breath? They tell me what they did.
Hmm.
They tell me what they did. I said, now, wait a minute. You were going to be observing, right? What was going on. Now you're telling me what you did. Oh, I'm sorry. I guess I didn't understand, because they just don't, they're always interfering. Whenever they notice it, they interfere. And that's where a lot of fear comes. They feel like they're going to interfere. It's going to be a problem, and they avoid focusing on their breathing. So the idea is to develop that awareness of it. And with things you can notice are things like, is the breath being pushed? If you can really stand back and look at it, is there an effort in the exhale, or is it passive? Just sitting in a chair, it should be passive. There's no need to do anything except to relax the muscles that were used to engage the acquisition of air, which is contracting the diaphragm. And now you relax it, the diaphragm will move up into the chest and the air is going to come out. So is there pushing? That's one thing. So now next, is there any, and this is really key, is there, as the air goes out near the end of the breath, as it's going out, is there emotion in there?
Mm.
Is there any anxiety in there? Is there any air hunger in there? Is there any air hunger? Is there any fear? What happens when you allow it like that? And a lot of people will find anxiety in it or air hunger in it. There's no reason for air hunger. This is psychophysiological. So you find air hunger in there. What does that mean? There's motivation to do what? If there's fear in there or air hunger, what are you going to do? Unconsciously, take a
Oh,
breath.
oh, yeah.
You're going to take that breath. And now the reflex is, hey,
Mm.
where am I? The reflex didn't come in, you prevented it. So now it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You took the breath and it's satisfying. And you do this every breath, all the time. And it becomes part of your life. And then it translates into doing the breath. I have to do the breath, or it's not going to happen. And you have belief systems around it. And, there's air hunger. And sure enough, you're right. You're not getting enough air. There's air hunger there, So you explore your breath. And no matter what you're going to do, that's essential to anything you're going to do with the breath.